Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to the life of a virtual cargo pilot. So you recall we had to make an emergency landing over in Paris the other day because we had some engine issues, and mechanics said they couldn't figure out what was wrong, they didn't see any problem, blah blah blah, and so we flew from Paris over here to London. We didn't have any issues. So we were good to go, and then this guy from the company comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, you did good. We're proud of what you did. Blah blah blah. You guys know the drill, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's great." He's like, "You know, we want to give you some more challenging assignments." I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's flying, man. There's plenty of challenge there." He's like, "Well, we need to run some cargo into some areas that most pilots don't want to get." You know, a 767 in and out of, but we think you can handle it. I'm like, whatever, man. We're gonna do what we're gonna do. I don't really care, you know, as long as the aircraft can land and take off, I'm good. So they're sending us on this run today. It's from here in London out to EDXW, which I don't even know what that is. It's like this tiny little island peninsula looking thing. It's not a very long runway. It's like 6,700 feet. It's like right on the edge of the absolute minimum for both landing and takeoff. So I guess that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to run over there. It's not a super long flight. I'll show you all the flight plan here in a little bit, but they're loading up the cargo. I had to actually make them take some of the cargo back out. So they're trying to cram all this cargo. They're like, "Oh, it'll take more, it'll take more." I'm like, "Yeah," and then I'll run off the end of the runway and I'll end up in the ocean. That's not going to work for me. So I had to force them to take some more off. I might have to make more than one trip on this, but apparently this is what they want us doing now. So we're going to charter on over there. I don't know what Mac Air's up to here, but that's what they're going to be doing with us. So Mac Air charter flight over to EDXW, and at some point before we leave, I'll hopefully figure out what the name of that is. So I guess we ought to climb up in the flight deck and get to work. What do you say? Alrighty folks, they're about done getting things loaded up and back here. We finally had somebody come out and give us the flight plan, and we weren't even entirely certain that this airport we were supposed to go to existed, but somebody finally gave us a flight plan here. We'll take a quick look at that. It looks like where we're flying to is Sylt, Germany. I've never been there. I've never even heard of the place. That's where we're going to be going today. So we're looking at air distance 396 nautical miles. Block fuel today was 27,975. I just had them load 28,000, so we should be good on that. You can see that our takeoff weight is 325,835 pounds, and our landing weight is 313,562 pounds. Those are going to be pretty critical for our flight today because it's a really short runway. It's like 6,800 feet or something like that. So I don't even know if we're going to be able to get this done, but I guess we're going to find out the hard way. Moving on down here, don't worry about our takeoff times because apparently we can go whenever we want. Just me and the co-pilot on board today, 102,900 pounds of cargo. And, you know, total payload there of 103,300 pounds. So we're going to see how this goes. Hopefully they're not getting us into some trouble here. But let me get back to the flight deck here. Let's start getting things spun up, and then I'll come back on here with you guys, and we'll talk about what else we got to do. All right, looks like we got everything entered in the FMC here, guys. Let's go ahead and just grab our EFB here real quick. Take a look at our checklist. Make sure we're good to go. Preliminary pre-flight is done. Our CDU pre-flight is done as well. I just haven't done the checklist yet, so we go through that real fast. And takeoff V speeds were set. I did use our TopCat tool. Not a huge fan of it. You guys know that. TopCat not particularly reliable, but I will say that the numbers did match up almost exactly between TopCat and what the FMC came up with. So there's some potential there for an accurate reading. We'll see how it works out. I did just take a quick look at the landing calculations on TopCat, and we're going to be cutting it close. I'm going to tell you right now. Especially the way I tend to float it. We know how that is, but it is what it is. So anyway, so we're on to our pre-flight controlling checklist here. Let me just jump that back out of the way. So I'm just finishing getting things set up. Obviously the Aorous alignment's already been taken care of, so no real issues there. We haven't started the APU yet. You guys know my practice. I like to wait a little bit on that. I will tell you this, what we can do here is we can start closing up doors. I don't see any reason to keep all the doors open. Those cargo doors can take a few minutes to close anyway. So if we just go over to our ops here, and this lets the guys know that we want to start closing things up. So we'll go ahead and just close all there. And then looking at our ground ops as well, we can get rid of the stairs. We don't need those. ACU unit, we're going to get rid of that anyway. Loader unit can go away. Fuel truck can go away. We've got all our fuel. And the parking brakes rods, we'll go ahead and remove chocks now. The only thing we actually need on there is the GPU. So we'll just leave that there for the moment until we get onto the APU. Get these bad boys on. That guy right there, this is going to need to go, nope, we'll go with auto 2. And just taking a quick look here at my airport elevation, because we're going to need to know that, right? It's 51 feet. So it's, like I said, it's on this little like island peninsula thing. So we're going to set this to 50 feet. There we go, 50 feet, easy days. Let's go ahead and throw all of these guys over to auto real quick. There we go, trim air, recircs on. Packs can go to auto as well. No, auto, there we go. Left, center, and right isolations can all come on, and then both engine and APU bleeds can go on as well. Am I missing anything up here? Those are normal. No, I don't think I am. I think we're probably good here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the checklist. Just verify that we haven't missed anything. Flight deck door needs to be locked. It's going to tell me it's not. It just does every time. Let's go ahead and take a look here real quick, see what it says for us. That's your weather, that's your terrain, you know, how far out do you want it zoomed, all that good stuff. Weather switch, see I didn't hit the traffic switch in the middle, there we go. But I mean the TCAS isn't on yet anyway, right? Okay, so I'm going to finish up this checklist and the next one, then we're going to push and start because this is just taking forever. Alright, let's finish cleaning up this mess I made here really quick. It's it's fast to do the stuff, but going through the checklist takes forever, right? Like literally looking at it and going through it. It's probably makes far more sense for me to just start going through these checklists like pre-flight, just go through it, right? So, you know, we're on our before start checklist right now. So let's take care of the items that need to be taken care of. I was using that amplified checklist originally because I don't know, it just made sense to me to show you guys all the good stuff that was associated with that, but I just don't think it really makes sense anymore, so I'm going to stop doing that. Unless you guys really want to see it. Red and collision lights can come on, wing lights can go on as well. If you guys really want to see it, then I guess we could still use it, but I don't know. I do need to set up my pushback, so I'm going to do that really quick, then I'll be right back. Alright, that takes care of that, so we're pretty much ready to go. One thing I kind of, well, not kind of, one of the things that I like about the better pushback is that depending on where you're at, it changes the voice. So listen.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Right? So, I mean, that's what you would expect. You would expect the voice of, you know, somebody who's English from Britain. When I flew out of Milan, the voice was different in Milan than it is here, and it just changes automatically, which I find pretty cool. So, anyway, jump back up here. The packs need to come off. We don't have any passengers, so I'm not too worried about them. It's just us on here, so we'll heat up. It's England. I mean, come on, this is London. It's not going to get hot anyway, so we'll be fine waiting on that. So the packs are off. Everything else ready to go. Let's take a look while he's hooking up at our before start checklist here. So the fuel's been checked. Passenger signs are set. The windows are locked. The MCP is set. We'll take a look at our departure briefing, and we'll see why that's at 6,000 here momentarily. Takeoff thrust is set, so we're actually,
all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
We're actually going to use a derated takeoff, which is something I haven't shown in this before, but you can see our true air temperature is plus 23. We're going to put it at plus 40 for our takeoff, right? So you see it's negative 29 Celsius right now, so we're going to crank that all the way up. We're going to go plus 40 for our D rate. See how that starts coming down? That's the engine performance rating. See that moving? So plus 39 looks like that's as high as we can go. So that should that's going to work out for us. So we got plenty of runway for that. That's the point. So takeoff thrust is set. Takeoff speeds have been checked. CDU pre-flight is complete. Rudder and aileron trim are set. Taxi and takeoff briefing. We're going to actually do those while we're pushing
so
back.
Connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake. Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Groovy. So we'll do that here momentarily. Flight deck door is locked. See, it always says it's not, but pushed in is locked, out is unlocked. So red anti-collision light is on. So that takes care of our checklist. Real quick, let's take a look at our taxi and our departure briefings. So jump this bad boy over here using Sim Toolkit Pro and our Navigraph charts as we always do. We're actually on this cargo apron here. I've got him pushing us out this little entryway here, right to here, so that we can just point this way, and then we're just going to take Sierra down and hold short of 9 right. Simple as that. This is our departure here, so from 9 right, so we should be on this runway here. So you can see on departure it's a pretty immediate left turn. Going to make our way over here to D10.0 London, or 10 nautical miles from the London VOR. So that's on the 071 track right there. You can see that. Between 3 and 6,000, between 6 and 4,000 here. And then at 6,000 by the time we're 6 nautical miles from BPK, at 6,000 at BPK, and then we can continue on from there. That's why we've gone ahead and set that bad boy the way we have in here. Now let's go ahead and start engine number 1. Where are you at? Over the ground. Wait for 15 on the M.2 down here. Comes up pretty quick. And introduce the fuel, and I'll finish starting the engines, and I'll see y'all back here shortly. Alrighty folks, let me get the track IR on here really quick. Just made sure everything was good, checked with our charter division over at Mac Air. We're good to go on everything, so let's clean up after the start here really quick so we can get the bleed off, we can get the packs on. We're going to need those pressurize the aircraft as well, right? APU Jim, we'll leave that in the on position for now, turn this off. Now I had this thing where the buses like to turn off, so you know, it'd be great if they do the maintenance that I've been asking them to do on this aircraft. They haven't done it yet, so yeah. Anyway, flaps are set. We're set to RTO. We can auto arm the speed brakes for the moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at our checklist now. So before start, flight deck door, we already looked at that. Before taxi, anti-ice, we don't need it right now. Isolation switch, that's the nope, yep, we need to take both of these guys off, but the center stays on. I'm not really sure why that is. We need to check the recall really quick. Parking brake is set. Yes, that's what we expect. Auto brakes RTO, ground equipment is clear. We can clear that off. So let's go ahead and get the brake off here. We can start our taxi. We've already taken a look at our taxi and our departure briefing, so let's just bring in a little bit of thrust here. Start moving forward. We're not super heavy. So if you guys are not familiar with Mac Air, it is a virtual airline, obviously. We have several divisions over at Mac Air. We've got the open division, which lets you fly whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, any aircraft, as long as it matches the flight or our aircraft substitution chart, all that good stuff. None of that stuff is too concerned. We've also got our historical division, which is the old iron, the original routes, all of that. Well, those are awesome too. Let me tell you what, we need to do some more of those, I'll tell you. And then you've got your professional division, which is something wholly different than what other people have. It's very, very structured, very intensive. You have to learn how to fly very realistically, and it's for, you know, individual aircraft and ranks. You have to learn how to fly very realistically, because you take actual check rides, exams with a live examiner online, obviously, but we have examiners at Mac Air who conduct those exams for you. So just really highly realistic. Then we've of course got our cargo division, which is what we normally fly in the life of a virtual cargo pilot, but we've been called over to this charter division to fly, to fly these cargo routes now, and so that's what we're doing right now is our charter division. But what's great about Mac Air is you can fly all those from a single profile. You don't have to have multiple profiles, but you do have to apply to each division. It's just a really great setup. It's something that's unique. I have noticed there are a couple of virtual airlines out there trying to kind of copy what we did, and I don't blame them. It's a great system, but one thing that Mac Air brings to the table that a lot of those other virtual airlines don't, and I'm not bad mouthing them, it's just from past experience. We bring a level of I don't want to say personal attention, but let's call it friendship. And I don't mean that like in a sarcastic way, calling it friendship. I mean the guys are just absolutely amazing over at Mac Air. We really have built some wonderful relationships. Our staff is very attentive to what's going on with the pilots, and we get together for group flights regularly. We do a lot of stuff together online, and it's just a lot of fun. It really is, and it's such a great group of guys. And so that's what Mac Air really has to offer is, something unique to most virtual airlines, but also that community, which is what I really love about it. I love the guys over at Mac Air. I'm really grateful for everything the staff does over there, and all of the pilots too. There's just such a great group of folks. So if you're looking for something that's going to add to your flight simulation, something that's going to give you some structure, give you some different places to fly to, we've got hundreds of thousands of routes literally. We've got thousands of aircraft available in our fleet. I mean, we're actually a very large virtual airline. We just don't have a lot of pilots right now, which is fine, but that community aspect is something that you just really don't find in a lot of places. And so that's what probably the best thing about Mac Air, in my opinion, is that community aspect. I don't know why, but this thing wants to pull to the left. I've noticed that, but again, maintenance doesn't want to do anything, so what are you going to do about it? Alright, I'm going to finish taxiing down here, and then I will see you guys when we're holding short of the runway. Alrighty folks, as you can see we're holding short of the runway here. Let's go ahead and get ready to pull out. We can get the landing lights on, we can get the strobe lights on, taxi lights can come off. Let's go ahead and move that forward. Engine start switches, we don't put the continuous on this one. We've already armed the speed brakes, so we're good to go there. We're already set to RTO on the auto brakes. Okay, there we go. Now we got her moving here. Get her out on the runway. Take a look at our checklist. Not sure what was going on with it, but before takeoff checklist, takeoff briefing has been reviewed. Packs are going to stay in the on or auto position. Flaps are set. Stabilizer trim. Let's just double check that. Go to our initial reference page. We should be trim at 4.5, which is right about where we're at. 4.5, which is fantastic. What else we got here? Flight controls, we did check those, and the cabinet is secured. We are ready for takeoff. Get rid of that. There's our runway there. We should get our RAS call out here shortly, and just double check the approach path. Don't see anybody coming. A little ugly on the weather today, but not too bad. We don't need to worry so much about terrain, but let's go ahead and let's get our weather radar on here, just in case there's any weather we're not aware of. Move that bad boy out of the way and roll around over here. Remember, we are doing a D-rated takeoff, so the engine performance rating should be lower. It should be, you can see it on there, it's a 1.5. Bring that around just a bit tighter there.
Approaching 09 right on runway 09 right.
So you can see from the weather radar there is definitely some weather off to our left, and we're kind of headed right in that direction. So if we start really hitting something heavy, we might move off to the side a little bit and just deal with it and kind of go around, but we'll see how it goes. So alright, let's go ahead and bring it up to about 60%. Let's let them stabilize. Looking good, and toga. So you notice it's not full thrust on the engines. D-rated takeoff. Airspeed is alive. There's 80 knots. Lots of runway to work with. Not super heavy, so coming up on V1. There's V1 and rotate. There we go. Let her kick into that wind gear coming up. And as usual, she wants to climb, and she wants to climb quick. Go ahead and take the flaps up one setting. And you can see immediately that nose wants to start coming back down. And we're going to start our turn here. There we go. Ooh, she wants to dive now, doesn't she? Isn't it crazy how that works? Take out just a little bit of lift and then you're just nose diving. The weather doesn't seem to be an issue all of a sudden, so that's interesting. I wonder if that was just some ground reflection maybe? Not really sure, to be honest with you. I don't know that much about how that weather radar works. Alright, just get her lined up there. Bring that nose down just a little bit. Remember, we're only climbing up to 6,000 here, so we don't need a super fast climb. As soon as I take out that next setting of flaps, you're going to see that nose come down a little bit on its own. As that lift goes away, there's the nose starting to come down. See that there? Just keep an eye on it. Make sure it doesn't drop too far on you. A little bit of nose up trim to keep her from trying to descend all of a sudden. Get the flaps all the way up. Same thing, we'll see her come down just a little bit again. And we're looking pretty solid there. Let's go ahead and get the autopilot on at this point. There it is. Track IR, we'll leave that on for the moment. So we're going to climb to 6,000 feet. We've got that set on the MCP here. So landing light's going to stay on for a while. 6,000 feet is also our transition altitude in this area. So we'll pretty much maintain our altimeter until we decide to move on from there. So let's take a look at the after takeoff checklist, see what else we need to take care of. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, this guy can go down. Auto brakes are off at this point. And then after takeoff checklist, hacks are staying on auto, landing gears up, flaps are up, altimeters are set. We are good to go. That takes care of our after takeoff checklist, and that means it is time for some of that obligatory elevator. Alrighty folks, as you can see, we're just inside 80 nautical miles from our top descent here. Still no ATIS report. There is no arrival for this airport. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get set up for the descent. We're going to set up and assume an approach into runway 32. Looks like we're going to take the ILS 32 for now, unless that changes. If you hear that scraping, that would be my son upstairs. He's having a good time dragging chairs across the floor. Anyway, let's go in here, departure arrival, and EDXW arrivals. It's going to be the ILS-32 approach, and we're going to transition at Old Dip. So here we go, and if you go to your legs page here real quick, just make sure you don't have any discontinuities. Old Dip was already a waypoint, and then it's CF32, FF32 is 3,000 feet, which looks good for us, and then on into the runway there. So we should be all set on that. We can do our initial reference right now if we want. That is the proper ILS frequency, just so you know. It is going to be a full flaps landing, 144 knots. It'll probably end up being 143 knots. We'll see how that works out, but I did take a look at the performance charts, and it looks like we need it just shy of 4,000 feet of runway for our landing, and we've got just shy of 6,000 feet of runway available. And of course, you all know, actually, just shy of 7,000 feet. But either way, you all know I tend to float it. We're not going to have room for that, so we're going to have to put this bad boy down. So real quick here, we'll finish getting set up, and then we will take a look at our approach briefing. So we'll bring this down to 3,000. There we go, 3,000. That'll be our glide slope intercept point. There's nothing else to do at the moment except sort of stand by. I will say this, we are going to use the max auto brakes on this. So we'll go ahead and just crank that on over for now. And let's take a quick look at our descent checklist, and we'll do this approach. Actually, I think we need to do the approach briefing first because it's on the checklist. So let's bring this over here using Sim Toolkit Pro and Navigraph charts. ATIS is on 18.4. I've got that tuned in right now. We're just waiting to see if we pick it up here anytime soon. Radar in 24.075, towers in 19.750, and let's see, what is our transition altitude's 5,000 feet. We need to make sure that's correct in our FMC. Localizer frequency 111.5 with a final approach course 323 degrees. Glide slope intercept at Loam at 1,170 feet. So that's way down here, but we're probably going to intercept back here at 3,000 feet, just saying. Missed approach procedures, climb straight ahead to 3 nautical miles from WES, and then turn right, max 185 knots direct to the NDB, and a climbing to 3,000 feet. Minimum safe altitude in the area is 1,700 feet, so not a lot of high terrain around there. You can see there is a procedure turn here. We are not going to perform the procedure turn. We're actually going to be coming in from down here somewhere straight to Old Dip and then on in. Happy lights should be on the right hand side, and we are looking at minimums of 200 feet, so that should work out nicely for us. Let's bring that back over there. Let's set the minimums real quick because I will forget otherwise. So we'll set this to 200 feet here. We do want to make sure we're set to 5,000 feet for our transition altitude. We can go to our descent page here. There it is, transition level 050. We already saw that our ILS is tuned in here, but we do need to make sure it's tuned in back here as well. So it is 111.50. There we go, and then 323 degrees. There we go, that takes care of that. Everything's pretty much set up for the descent, so I'm going to break away from here. Haven't gotten any word back from the company yet. They're really not saying anything about this. The whole thing's kind of hush-hush, kind of weird, so see how it goes, but let's plant this bad boy in there, make sure everything's safe. See you when we're on the approach. Alrighty folks, you can see we're about 10 nautical miles from Old Dip. I took a look at the calculations. First of all, the wind 03010, altimeter 29901, transition altitude, remember, is 5,000 feet. Taking a look at our landing calculations, we have a required landing distance of 5,540 feet, and our runway length is going to be 6,955 feet. So you do the math. Not a lot of space in there, which means there is no room for the traditional Captain Mac float. We're gonna have to put this sucker down. We're gonna have to put it down quick. So yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. What I'm going to do is just continue flying on ahead here as normal, probably fast forward just a little bit, bring it onto the approach, and we're going to put her down nice and snug. So we'll see you back here in just a second. Alright, just crossing CF32 here. As you can see, the localizer is already armed and captured. We'll go ahead and hit the approach switch. Glide slope is now armed. We can turn that weather radar off. We don't need to worry about that. No traffic in the area, so nothing really to worry about there either. So right now we're just waiting on glide slope capture, and then we'll bring her on into this tiny little runway, which should be rather interesting. There's glide slope capture right there. So let's go ahead and throw that landing gear out. That's going to give us a little bit of drag there. We'll bring in that next setting of flaps here shortly. We're still a little fast. The FMC had the speeds programmed a little higher than I would have liked, to be honest with you. But I think we'll be alright. Hopefully we'll bring her in nice and easy. Maybe get a smooth landing despite the really short runway, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. So watching that speed come down a little bit, we can just make out the runway right there. You probably can't see it. I can see it, but just barely. So we're going to just let the aircraft do its thing here. Let's go ahead and throw out a little bit of speed brake. Let's just slow her down. Let's get that out of the way for the moment. Just need to get her to slow down a little bit quicker here so we can finish bringing in those flaps. Finish getting configured for this approach. There's flaps 15 coming in right now. And our speed is going to be 144. So 149 will be our final approach speed. There we go, 149. Yeah, you can see that runway now. I know the speed breaks out. I'm doing that on purpose. Another setting of flaps coming in. Get that drag out there. We're going to need it because we're getting close. Boy, that came up quick, didn't it? One more setting of flaps. It's going to put us at 25. Let's go ahead and arm those speed brakes now. Let's take a look at our landing checklist really quick while we've got a second. We already did the descent there.
1,000.
Forgot to do the checklist on here. Approach, altimeters are checked, nav aids are set, we're good there. Landing, cabin is secured, speed brake is armed, landing gear is down, and flaps are set to full. Fantastic. Alright, we got the speed brake armed, right?
3,
We'll
2.
get that out of the way. And let's get that autopilot off. There we go, my airplane. And let's take those auto throttles off as well. There we go, looking good. Ooh, she tried to climb on me there. We don't have any room for that. No room for that at all. Come on, baby. Don't you dare taxi onto that runway. Look at this guy. You gotta be kidding me, man.
Minimums.
Yeah, alert.
Alright, we're going around.
$100. Flight slope.
Alright, gear coming up. Ooh, that sucker wants to climb, let me tell you. Stop. I know the gear's not down. Oh, that's annoying, isn't it? Autopilot back on. LNAV. Nope, nothing there. Oh my goodness. Alright, let's get this right here. We're going to have to start making our turn here pretty soon. And climbing up to 3,000 feet. I know. Thank you. Please stop. That is so obnoxious. Okay, so for whatever reason, the missed approach procedure is not showing up inside the FMC. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our heading hold mode here. Let's do autopilot, heading hold, select something, anything. Oh wow, it's not giving me anything, is it? Okay, fantastic. Is it holding? I don't know what it's doing here. Okay, let's go ahead and roll those throttles back. And we are currently at flaps 5. Okay, let's go ahead and start our right turn here. Okay. You want to turn, or what's the plan here? It does not want to turn, I can tell you that.
Bank angle.
Whoa, it turned now. Wow. Oh. There's passengers screaming in the back. There's no passengers on the plane. Wait a minute. It's on this airplane. Alright folks, we're going to turn back to final here. Other than an absolutely atrocious missed approach procedure, we're just fine. Well, that and probably absolutely terrifying some passengers. We're doing just fine here. There's not supposed to be any passengers on this plane. So I don't know why I hear people screaming in the back, but everything's been awfully hush-hush about this thing. So not really sure what's going on here. I will tell you this, we definitely messed up our missed approach procedure, something fierce. So that's on me. We're just going to continue this turn just ever so gently here. Just trying to get just a hair under the glide slope as we finalize our turn. And then get on the localizer here. So we're going to need to bring in a little bit of thrust. And next setting of flaps, and go ahead and drop that landing gear. We're going to have to hand fly this approach. The autopilot's working fine. I just had to cycle the flight directors, which makes sense. But yeah, we're just going to hand fly this thing. So let's just bring in a little more thrust here. Continue. We got one more setting of flaps to come in. Not sure why I was having so many issues doing the missed approach, and I'm not sure why it's not programmed into the FMC, but that's kind of on me. I didn't really pay attention to that. So yeah, my bad there. We're way above the glide slope right now. I'm trying to get her to trim nose down, but she just doesn't want to. Alright, let's get her back over here a little bit. We'll get her in there. We'll be just fine. 149 is what we're looking for. Supposed to be on auto throttle, but it's not, clearly. So we'll just turn that auto throttle off at this point. And let's get on this descent here, or we're going to miss this. We're going to have to do a second missed approach, and I'm really not keen to do that at this point. So, alright, lining her up on the localizer here. Just overshot it a hair. That's alright though. I got eyes on the runway, so let's go and I'm just going to roll those throttles back. And I just want this thing to start descending here. We are way above the glide slope right now, and I don't want to do another missed approach. So that's probably a little more than we need right there. But we do need a little nose up trim as well, because we need that speed to stay down. There we go. Now we're starting to come back onto it. Come on, baby. Alright, we'll bring her in here. Let's listen for call-outs. Hopefully we'll still get call-outs. We're still descending at a very quick rate. That's intentional. I'm just slowly bringing her in where I want to be. I'm at 153 knots right now. We'll be coming onto that glide slope very quickly. Just watch for that little triangle to move down here. Nice crosswind off the right-hand side there. You're going to see that triangle start moving here pretty soon, because we're going to be on that glide slope before you know it. That's alright. So yeah, horrible missed approach procedure. Obviously I need to work on making sure I'm ready for my missed approaches. I just kind of always assume I'm not going to be doing it. Gear is down. Flaps are full. Just make sure those speed brakes are armed. They are. Okay. And we're still a little bit high here, and we're off to the side a little bit. But there it is, coming in right there. So let's start bringing in that thrust. That's going to help level her out. There we are, right on the glide slope there. Come on, baby. 500. Perfect. Nice. Okay, don't get too high there now. There we go. Alright, let's bring her in here. No floating. We need to put her down. Is that guy still on the runway? If he is, we're landing anyway. I don't care. It looks like he's... Oh my gosh, we did that entire missed approach procedure and he was still there? Seriously? 100. Alright. Come on. There we go.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Come on. Down, down. There we go. Fantastic.
Remaining.
Okay. So he was out of the way in time. I gotta let that nose wheel down a little easier, don't I? So he was out of the way on time, but oh my goodness, was that an atrocious missed approach procedure by me or what? Like, that was bad. Okay, we're gonna go all the way up to the end here. I am just squirrely all over the runway. There we go. Alright, we're gonna take her up to the end here and we're gonna hang her right. Pretty smooth. Let me see what it says on here. Minus 96 feet per minute. So we got a smooth landing despite everything, but I have to be honest, I'm a little embarrassed about my missed approach procedures there. that was pretty bad. That's a closed runway there, so we need to go up off the end here. That was pretty bad. That yeah, there's nothing more to say about that except let's never do that again. Let's make sure that we're a little smoother on our controls remaining there. I think what was happening is, even though it wasn't showing the autopilot as being engaged, it was, which is a little weird, probably a bug. But what ends up happening, of course, with that is I'm trying to turn, the autopilot's fighting me, so it wasn't turning. And then all of a sudden, when I hit the autopilot off switch again, it was like, oh, we're going to turn. So yeah, that was lots of fun there. Other than a little bit of embarrassment, we put her in here. No idea why I hear people screaming in the back. This is supposed to be a cargo flight. They've been really hush-hush about this whole thing. And flying, you know, if we're flying people over here to Germany, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that or not. But anyway, we're going to get this in here, see if we can't figure out what's going on. And I will see you guys back here when we're ready to shut her down. So I'm really not entirely sure where we're going to park here. We obviously can't park over there.
Millennium Flight, hold your position in the taxiway and shut down both engines. A tug will be sent to tow you to the appropriate position. At no time are you or any of your flight crew to leave the flight deck under any circumstances. You will be contacted by your company with departure instructions at the appropriate time. That is all.
Okay, not really sure what to make of that. Dispatch did say that we might receive some instructions when we got here. Alrighty then. Well, I guess the only thing to do is shut down the engines here. Let's go ahead and get 1 and 2 shut down and take a look at our shutdown checklist. Fuel pumps can come off. I'm going to leave the window heat on. I'm not worried about that. Flaps are up. I just turned the fuel pumps off. What are you talking about? Fuel control switches are cut off and the weather radar is off. That takes care of our shutdown checklist. I don't know if we're going to be securing the aircraft or what, so I guess we're just going to stand by and see what happens here. So there's the tow truck pulling up. We're just kind of sitting here on the runway right now. There's not really anything else for us to do, or not the runway, but the taxiway. We still haven't gotten any additional information. We can take these guys off now. We're just sitting on the APU. I'm hoping that they'll give us some ground power. Let's put the APU bleed on there. Turn the engine bleeds off. Isolation switch is on. And then I guess we just stand by for the tow.
Are closed, ready to connect.
Well, folks, I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. I don't know what to make of everything right now, but I suppose that we'll find out in the future. In the meantime, if you did enjoy this flight and this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and the little bell for notifications when more content is released. And as soon as I know what's going on here, you'll know. Until next time, folks, as always, keep the blue side up. Unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all, and have an absolutely wonderful day.